The greatest asset to helping you grow as a life insurance agent and consistently hit $40,000 per month is your mindset. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 3 most important keys that you can go out and implement so you can consistently look to hit $30, $40, and $50,000 per month. My name's Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this channel, I try to talk about the strategies, tactics, and behaviors that you can go out and implement as well so you can ensure that you are successful. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And let's hop right into the video. So today, my emphasis and goal is going to be breaking down the 3 most important factors that are necessary as a life insurance agent in your mindset for you to be able to be successful. The first thing we're going to break down tactically is going to be dialing. Now, most agents underestimate the value of when to dial and how to dial. Okay, so typically what people do is they say, hey, I'll double dial. That's the first thing. You need to understand that when people opt into forms, they're giving you permission to solicit them. Now, by solicit, people in their mind naturally think, oh, I'm bugging these people. I'm annoying them. I'm calling them way too much. They don't want to be bothered by me. And truthfully, that's the wrong way to think about it. The reason why you are assuming that is because you think that you have the same rationale as them, meaning that your way of viewing the world, your way of understanding things is the exact same way as theirs. And that is a self-limiting belief that you need to get over. If I opted into something, I raised my hand, that means I need help. So it's your job to go out and help them. Now, most people will say, hey, I'll just double dial them. Here's the problem with double dialing and why that mindset in terms of dialing is going to fail you when you're trying to succeed. And rather you should triple dial, quadruple dial, sometimes even FaceTime audio by all means, because understand as every single month and year goes on, we as humans become more and more detracted or retracted from reality, essentially meaning that we are more consumed by our phone. It's so much easier for us to get distracted by other things. And our attention span is growing shorter and shorter and shorter. So if I opt into a farm and you don't call me within the first few minutes, people do forget. People are shopping around. People are clicking on tons of stuff. They're being distracted every day. Now, on top of that, they're getting numerous phone calls. Every iPhone now when you buy it has an auto spam protector where it literally sends some text messages and phone calls automatically that you don't even know directly to your voicemail. Right. So a lot of people who have that setting on that don't know. So you're trying to call people and it's like, please state your name. And then you're getting a lot of, you can't get through to a lot of clients. Now, the easiest way around that is going to be to FaceTime audio. But what we focus on first from the mindset is you have to get over the fact that you're bugging them. Your job is to resolve the lead. Okay. If you're calling somebody once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once in the evening, that means nothing to them anymore. People have got accustomed to having spam calls come through. That's why they literally have an auto blocker for spam. Right? So you have to actually call them 3-4 times. You need a FaceTime audio, which goes through that. Okay. And the reason why you need to do that is because now you're going to increase your overall pickup rate. A lot of people complain that these leads don't work, but you're not working the leads properly. The first step is dialing, right? So that's the mindset of how many times you call them, meaning in a row. The second thing is how frequently you call them, so meaning throughout the day. If you call them once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once in the evening, what is morning? It's relative to every single person. Like I get up at 4. Some people get up at 6. Some people get up at 8. So if you're calling a lead, legally you can, in most places, call them at about 8, 9 o'clock their local time. But if you're calling people at 10 or you're calling people at 10:30 or you're starting your day at 11, dude, you're missing out on the most important times. Like if I pick up my phone and dial people at 8 a.m., most people are going to pick up. 7 a.m., obviously we can't dial then, but like the earlier the better. So you're getting a jump on it. Now there's multiple times throughout the morning. Okay, some people start their shift at 9. Some people are working an overnight shift. People have a lot of things going on. It's not convenient. Just because it's convenient for you doesn't mean it's convenient for them. Right. And a lot of times you're not willing to get uncomfortable. Right. We're talking about the afternoon. That's typically when everybody wants to call. And then they base all of their lead quality on the overall calls, like when they're picking up, but you're calling during the day. So what you really need to focus on is how can I call during the evening, right? Early in the morning, because in the evening after 5:45, really 5 o'clock to about 8:30 local time is when you're going to get the most pickups. The most answers, a lot of your booked appointments, but most people stop dialing at 6:37. They hang in the towel, because they don't want to get uncomfortable, right? Which is really going into the pillar number 1 of dialing, which in the mindset is that you need to be good with being uncomfortable, right? A lot of times we just presume that our limiting beliefs are projected onto somebody else, right? And that they believe that too, but that's the perception part. Right? We think that that's what they're going to do, but we don't know. And what you really need to do is identify top behaviors of top agents. So the second hack is literally cheat. They're like, what do you mean cheat? No, you need to literally cheat off of somebody else who's coming back from where you're trying to go. Right? They are like where you want to be. You need to do every single thing Right? I heard a guy the other day say he sits down right beside the top producer at his office and he just listens to everything he says, tonality, his objections, how he dials his leads, and he copies everything. You need to cheat and copy off of that person. What is their lifestyle? How do they, like every single thing. If you want to make that type of money, if you want to have that kind of impact, if you want to grow that type of agency, you need to cheat off their test. They know what to do. Follow in their footsteps, right? Life insurance, interestingly enough, is structured. It's literally like mentorship in one nutshell, right? You think about it, you have an upline and then you have a downline. That's your mentee. Your override is like you going to pay for mentorship, right? Cool, you drop 50, 20, 30, $100,000 on a mentorship. All you're doing when you're in an agency, because everything is a pyramid, right? All you're doing when you're in an agency is you are essentially paying down that debt, that ignorance debt of you not knowing how to close, how to convert, how to recruit to your upline in the form of him getting an override. And when you improve and get better, you catch up to him. Just like a mentorship. You pay $50,000 for a year of mentorship. At the end of the mentorship, if you do the things they told you to do, you will make the money. Now, some people complain and say that it didn't work this way or that way, and they're like, oh, my agency, my upline. Okay, cool. Well, if you copy off their test and when you came in, they had something you wanted, or at least somewhat something that you wanted, unless you just randomly went to an agency. And if you did, go find somebody, ask to be switched, go to their team, go learn from people. Like when you're joining into an agency, you are literally paying with your time, effort, and energy for that mentorship, and they're getting an override. Once you get better, once you grow, that's why when you hit an income goal, they bump you up. When you hit your agency goal, they bump you up, because at that point, as an upline, it's their job to earn the override. It is literally your job in this essence to be a student and do what they tell you to do. So you need to cheat off their exam, cheat off how they move. Once you do that, you will make more money. The problem is you think that in your mind, your way of doing it is going to get you to where you're trying to go. And that is you are losing yourself. You're not going to hit 30, 40, 50, 60, $100,000 a month as an agent if you keep trying to do it your way. That is a marquee problem that is just around the industry, right? So number one is dialing. Number two is going to be you cheating off somebody else. And that is going to give you all the other things like tonality, scripting, objection handling. I'm not going to go over all those things in this video, but essentially that's going to be your point of contact for how you're going to acquire those skills, right? Because the reason why I started with dialing is because you have to put that work ethic in, because you may cheat off their exam, but they may be way so much further ahead of you that they don't dial the same way. So you can't really cheat off them, right? It's like, if I'm a business owner and I'm looking to make my first 10K, I'm not going to go listen to somebody who's making $1 million a month. It's not there's anything wrong with it, but they're so far ahead and there's so many skills they acquire. I need to go find other people who made 10. And I can speak to myself because that's something that I went through. When I was trying to grow, I couldn't listen to certain people. I couldn't listen to the Hermosis, right? The like really, really, really top level entrepreneurs because I was a baby. Now I would listen to them for mindset, but it was a lot of actual skill set things. I couldn't cheat off them. I could cheat off them in terms of saying like, yo, you know what? I'm going to acquire this mindset. I'm going to have this type of worldview in regards to business. But I could not go out and implement some of the things that they were mentioning because I didn't have the staff. I didn't have the team. So I had to start where I was at. So my first step is implementation. It is literally dialing. Just go get your teeth kicked in. Number two is going to be to cheat off their exam. Once you figure out, I got to dial, go pay attention to them, use that your work ethic for your situation, not their work ethic for their situation, because they are there because they've acquired a skill. They don't have to dial as much because they've acquired a skill, but you are still going to go learn that skill from them, okay? And from other people. And then the third, and honestly, in my opinion, this is probably the most slept on, is like actually, you need to really transform the way that you think. How do you view the world, right? Do you view no's as next opportunity, right? Or do you view no's and rejection and you get flustered? Do you get upset when you blank on a pack of leads? Are you extremely emotional in the process, right? Are you able to look at things straight in a business alignment, which means there's no emotion on what's going on and you just focus on the numbers? You have to understand that having truly a bulletproof mindset is not just a matter of being like, I'm just going to dial all day. That is definitely a part of it. And cheating off somebody else that's coming back from where you're trying to go. That is also a part of it. But you also need to understand business. You need to understand how the overall component, like what role you play in the grand scheme of things. You need to study the people who've had the most profitable agency. What are they doing? You need to be a student of the game, not just from the sales, but from all encompassing. The reason why I'm saying this in this video is about making 40K months is because once you understand and know the entire business and you have those other two. Remember, this is in order. This is not do all three. This is do one, do two, and then do three. The reason why you can do that is because now you've learned all the sales, because all the sales thing is like literally learning how to dial, when to dial, what to say, how to say it, and how to overcome objections. That's it. There's inside of what to say and how to say it is like framing, tonality, pitching concepts, being able to close, being able to downsell, actually fighting and putting in the right plan, overcoming very small objections or avoiding objections at the beginning of the call. Right? The only other thing you need to do to get to where you are, because there's tons of people that can do, they dial all day and they're great at sales, but they cannot get out of their own way. They make 30K one month, 15K, 20K. It's because they don't understand business. They don't have the right mindset. And they honestly can't go from 40K to 100 or from 50 to 70. Now, most people will tell you just buy leads. And I love that. That's a great idea. That's a good place to start. But a more systematic way, and honestly, a safer and more predictable way where you actually feel confident and sleep well at night and you're not just swiping your card, is look at how much you spend on leads. Look at how many sales you've made, okay? Divide that number. That's what we call the cost to acquire a client, or CPA. Once you have that number with whatever lead vendor, lead company, whoever it is, now what you can do is reverse engineer how much you need to spend in order to hit your goal. Now, it obviously gets a lot more granular than that. There's what's called cost per booked appointment, right? There's obviously the traditional cost per lead. If you're just buying from a lead vendor, it's already a set rate, set price. Then you have what's called collected per sale. That means per sale that you make, how much money do you collect in premium? Once you have those numbers written on a Google Sheet, very nicely elaborated, if you want to work with us, we have our own KPI sheet that we can give to you. But once you have those numbers broken down, you can now look at things from a business, very logical mindset and say, this is how I'm going to grow my business. I'm at 15K. This is how much I need to spend on leads, right? And then you could just reverse engineer. Now, like how I was taught was just the leads and the booked appointments. But the next level is like, what was my actual cost to acquire a client? And then I can reverse engineer and I can see my closing rate. I can see what I'm collecting per sale. And then I can start making tweaks to my presentation, making tweaks to how I book appointments, my tie downs, and I can actually find the constraint. And then at that point I can grow, right? So I hope this video was informative and it helped you kind of understand and gauge how to get to your goals, right? Remember, dial frequently, right? And dial in the right style, meaning like triple or quadruple dial. Make sure you FaceTime audio and power through. Don't just double dial and get sent to voicemail. Right? Don't give up, okay? Then how frequently that you dial, right? So morning, mid-morning, late morning, afternoon, late afternoon, evening, early evening, mid-evening, late evening. And that sounds like a lot, but it is, okay? But theoretically, if I told you just had to do that and then you would make 2-3 sales a day and 2-3 sales a day and you'd work 5 days a week and you're depositing 10K a week, like, are you complaining? It's like, no. It's like, all right, well then you have to do it. Right? Second thing is going to be cheating off somebody. You need to find the best person in your agency, office, whatever, and be like, dude, just let me sit by you and study you all day. How do you eat? How do you sleep? What do you do? I need everything. And just cheat off of them. Then take the pieces, like take everything. And then as you grow and actually get better, you'll be able to pivot and adjust that for yourself. And you're going to apply that same work ethic for dialing with their cheat system on how they work, what they say, what leads they buy, the whole 9 yards. And then you will get there. And then lastly, to create systematic growth for you. And honestly, we didn't even talk about in this video as an agency owner, what you need to do is figure out, okay, now that I know these things, how can I implement from an agency-wide standpoint? And this is really where you grow, right? We've been able to help numerous agencies get, past $1 million a month. We've helped over 550 agents hit 40K. And honestly, I haven't recounted that in probably like a little under a year. So I know we're over it, but I just like that number and it kind of comes off the tongue naturally. So that's what we're rolling with. But nonetheless, yeah, I hope you guys can go out and implement this. And this is my new style, by the way. I like this a little bit better. I'm trying to get more to a podcast style. I am growing. So I'm trying to eventually get to the point where I have an office, etc. So hopefully this video helps. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.